So beyond that, I wanted to make sure that you were aware that we do have a frequently updated coronavirus resource guide on DaytonChamber.org. So this contains all the information that you may need as a business owner to navigate the weeks and days ahead. We've got everything from federal and state resources to local opportunities for additional help. We're looking into more assistance identifying personal protective equipment, all along the line. So as you need resources for your business, please do check into that guide frequently. We also are, like many organizations, trying to ramp up our offering of webinars. So we do try to offer several of those each week on a variety of topics that may be helpful to you. So if you're able, please log on to our events calendar to check about upcoming webinars. And then when the time comes, please do log into our member services, your Member Hub account as a Dayton Chamber member to identify some of those additional resources and B2B services. So with that, I'm going to turn things over to Brittany. And Brittany, I'm going to go ahead and give you screen control.
Thank you. Okay. Can you see my screen, Stephanie? I think you're the only one muted, so I will ask you.
Yep, everything looks great. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, and thank you to the Chamber for all of those helpful resources that we really appreciate. Just what a tremendous resource you are in our area. Thank you. And thank you. Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you for the Chamber, to the Chamber for having me. Thank you to our health systems. You've been incredible during this time, your innovation and collaboration. And also thank you to each one of you. You're an employer or an employee or a member of our community, and you make this city truly what it is. So before we get into the introduction, I want to share 3 quick things with you. First, without using a calculator, what is 90,630 divided by 15? 90,630 divided by 15. What happened to your mind when I asked you to solve this math problem in your head? Were you thinking about the past? Were you thinking about the future? Were you thinking about the virus? You know, your attention was on the math problem. You may have been going, why is she having me do long division at 9 in the morning? It was a way to disrupt your thoughts to bring you into this moment. And when you're fully present in this moment, that's called mindfulness. It's beneficial because it contributes to better performance, heightened creativity, deeper self-awareness, and it also contributes to a sense of calm. And also this right here is where all the action is. So it's giving your attention or presence the opportunity to be here, not thinking about the past and not focused on what you're going to do next, but you're fully present in this moment. Okay, so now that we're all here together, let's talk about the second thing. Have you ever seen elephants hiding in trees? This makes me laugh. They're really good at it. So that's a joke. It's hard when you're on a webinar. You can't see if anybody's even laughing, and it's also even hard to say it, especially when it's a joke that makes you laugh. But again, when I was asking that question about the elephants hiding in trees, your attention was probably on the question. You weren't thinking about the past or the future. It was on the question. Your presence was with me. So humor is another way to bring you into the present moment. And laughter has a number of benefits, physically, emotionally, intellectually, and socially. We could do a whole afternoon on laughter, but just know that laughter is super good for you. And the third thing, before we get into the rest of the program, I want you to select a time in history. And I'm not going to give you any parameters. This works for any period of time. Okay, you got it? Okay, I want you to think about that time period. And the generation that lived then faced challenges too. I'm not saying that what we're going through is any more or less challenging, but it's just recognizing that other generations have been through challenges too, and new gifts and talents in individuals and societies arose. Know that you're here right now because you matter. You have gifts and talents that are rising too and contribute to the greater good. So now let's get into the agenda. We're going to go over the goals of the program, then we're going to talk about things you can control, self-care, the importance of rest. We'll do more relaxation tools, and then we'll have a closing question. So truly, this is not a time to tell you how you should feel. If we asked everyone on the webinar, we would get a variety of responses, and there's no wrong answer. There's not a wrong answer. Every emotion, every way that we're going through this, totally understandable. but we're here to help you become more aware of how you experience what you are experiencing, and that even in challenging and changing times, you don't have to not feel good. It's actually okay to feel good. And we're not going to solve all the different challenges, but I do want to help you be your best, encourage a healthy immune system, and help you bring your best mind and body to help you develop creative solutions to live well. When you do feel good, how does that influence the way you show up for others? How does it influence the way you show up for your job? When you do feel good, how does it influence the way you show up for your day? And how does it influence the way you show up for yourself? So let's talk about, in times of uncertainty and times of change, sometimes it seems like there are so many things you can't control. But when you start to see some of the things and recognize the things you can control, sometimes your awareness of what you can control expands, and you start to recognize more and more. So it doesn't seem like everything is out of control. And these are just a few things to just get you started on thinking about it. What time you wake up, what time you go to bed, your outlook, which we'll talk about more on the next slide, what you watch and listen to, and how much of what you watch and listen to. Self-care, we'll go into that much deeper in a few minutes. How you attempt to maintain a routine, and also having a personal goal, a family goal, and a professional goal each day. So outlook. Stop thinking of what could go wrong and start thinking of what could go right. Have you ever thought that it takes just as much energy to think about what could go right as it does to go wrong? And it really impacts your outlook and the way you experience your day. So try to think of what could go right. Okay, self-care. We're going to spend a little bit of time on this area. I don't know if you've ever seen this, maybe in a health class, but our lives are actually made up of 8 dimensions: physical, intellectual, social, emotional, spiritual, environmental, occupational, and financial. And I put them in a circle for a reason. When you think about a wheel, it rolls really smoothly when it's fully inflated, right? But if there's a flat tire, if there's a nail, it doesn't roll as smoothly. And in the same way, if any of these areas aren't nurtured, it doesn't roll as smoothly. So just you're probably doing a lot of things in each of these areas and you don't compartmentalize, which that I don't either. You just live your life. But when you start to think about all these different things that you can do to help nourish them, it does really help your life come into alignment and roll really smoothly. So let's go into each one. Physical. Okay, this is what you'd imagine, like you're eating, moving, sleeping. This has been an interesting time too with food, the way that our lives have changed, and you might be spending more time at home and even less time eating out. So how are you fueling your body? And to go back to mindfulness, have you ever finished a meal and realized you didn't taste every bite? Try to bring your attention to the moment, and even as you're preparing your meal, do you feel, when you open the refrigerator door, do you feel the cold? Do you feel the heat from your stove? When you're washing the vegetable, do you feel the water? Do you feel the texture of the vegetable? Do you smell the meat as it's roasting? And then as you're eating, are you savoring the sensation of each bite and noticing the flavors and textures? And then it's not only what you eat, but how you eat. Are you standing up and walking around? Are you sitting down and having a meal? And does your meal have a starting point and an end point? And to go back to mindfulness again, recently in our office, we had 2 people who lost 60 pounds. They had an intention to become aware of when they were full, and then they stopped eating. So I know it sounds so simple, but a lot of times we don't even realize that we are full, and then we keep eating. So it's bringing mindfulness to when you're feeling full, and then stopping eating. And a few more things on eating. Consider the 80-20 idea, especially right now. Make healthful choices 80 to 90% of the time, eating really less processed foods, and then the other types of choices that may not be as helpful 10 to 20% of the time. And enjoy what you're eating. And I go back to that first question, how are you fueling your body? Okay, the second thing, movement. I put this picture on here. I hope you can all see it really well. Like, they are so happy. Like, I love how the little girl on the right, she's looking at him and her smile is just encouraging, and they're all having fun. And I wanted you to think about when you were back in elementary school and the recess bell would ring and you would like run outside to play kickball or tetherball or handball or maybe go climb on the monkey bars. But movement was fun. You probably didn't think of it even as exercise. You did it because you enjoyed it. So have you ever thought about your exercise personality and what you do enjoy? Are you more social? Are you more independent? Do you want something more physical and a higher intensity? Or do you want more lower intensity? Are you strategic? There are activities that can really support your exercise personality too. And also focus on the process. Find something that you're passionate about. And many exercisers don't list decreasing the risk for chronic diseases as their #1 reason for exercise. They do it because they've found activities they enjoy. So what do you think happens when you nourish your body with healthful foods, with healthful portions, and when you move your body every day? You're more likely to have a restful night's sleep. So let's talk about sleep. You might know these tips. I know they've been around, but they're still helpful to just remember. Put your cell phone down a few hours before bed. Choose not to watch the news or social media a few hours before bed. Go to bed at the same time every day. Get up at the same time every day. Those really help set you up for a restful night's sleep. If any of you are having challenges falling asleep, though, I'm going to give you a form of progressive muscle relaxation. We're just going to walk through it really quickly. When you are in bed, you can take a much more deliberate, intentional time with each part of your body, but I just want you to experience this so that when you are in bed, if you can do this in the middle of the night, it's just something you can practice. So I want you to just take a few deep breaths and also put your feet flat on the floor. And I want you to bring a calm and peaceful sense of awareness down to your toes and just allow your toes to completely relax, just fully supported. And then move that calm and peaceful energy into your feet and then your ankles, allowing everything to relax, and keep breathing. And now up your lower legs, just allow everything to relax. And now bring that calm to your knees and your thighs, that calm and peaceful energy into your pelvis and your hips, and your stomach and your lungs, and your chest, allowing everything to relax, and your spine and your back and your shoulders, just allowing everything to relax, and bringing that calm and peaceful sense down your arms to your wrists and your hands and your fingertips, and then your neck and your face and your head and the crown of your head. Hopefully you feel a little bit more relaxed even right now. But when you do this at night, it actually really does, there is information that shows that it does help you fall asleep. And if you go through it one cycle and you haven't fallen asleep, you can always do it again and even again. And a lot of times you'll fall asleep halfway through. So if you are, I hope that does help you. Okay, let's get on to the next dimension. Intellectual. We are living in a rather extraordinary time to be quarantined in terms of intellectual stimulation. We have an abundance of ways to nourish this area. So online courses, I don't know if any of you have taken any of those massive open online courses like from Coursera. They are remarkable. So it's basically free access for the most part. If you want credit, you have to pay a fee, but you can take classes at Stanford, at the University of Michigan, or even around the world. I've taken a class on game theory from Stanford. I've taken a class on Einstein. I've taken a coding class. And it's remarkable. You have these amazing professors and you're with other students, and it's something really fun, and it's a range of topics. So if you are interested there, you can Google massive open online courses or even Coursera, and an abundance of things will pop up. Webinars, just like this, we're so blessed that so many different places are doing webinars, and every industry has them, from manufacturing to healthcare, and also on different subjects like leadership. And then books. Maybe in other times of your life you haven't had time to sit down and read a book, or maybe this is a good time to listen to an audiobook, podcast. I am always amazed when I stop to think about this. We have access at our fingertips to world-renowned speakers without attending a conference, without traveling, right wherever we are. And you can listen to them over and over again. I just am very grateful that we have these. They entertain or teach or inform. Another way to nourish your intellectual dimension is through puzzles or things like a Stuco, which I put up there. You can take virtual tours of an online museum or a zoo tour. They even have safari cams. Or you and your friends or your family or your company could do a word of the day. So that's your intellectual dimension. Social. This is about relationships and connection. How can you bring hope to yourself or someone today? And I know that the first week that all of this started, I was walking my dog really early in the morning, so it was dark, and one of our neighbors has 3 kids, and they had made 3 huge pictures of rainbows and put them on their front door. So as my dog and I were walking, we looked over and saw these pictures, and it really did make us smile because these rainbows were all lit up on this dark morning, and it encouraged us. So how can peace flow through you to those around you, encouraging them today? How can your presence support someone today, even via a phone call, text, or a chat? Do you know someone who lives by themselves? Can you send them a good night text or a good morning text, or maybe just a I'm thinking of you text? Also, think the best about yourself and others. There have been times when each one of us has missed the mark, but do you want others to dwell on that one moment or the many other moments when you showed up with grace and encouragement and kindness and love and support? So take time to think about and notice the good in others. And also, who fills you up? And it's been such an interesting time, obviously, with families. We're all spending more time together in a different way. And there's no one right approach. I had one friend who implemented like a very strict routine. From 9 to 10, they do this. From 10 to 11, they do this. 11 to noon, it's this. And then I have another friend who they don't have a set routine, but the kids get everything done. And both families are doing what works well for them. But let's give each other grace and patience during this time too. Okay, the emotional dimension. What brings you joy and just fills your whole spirit and being with happiness? Pay attention to how you talk to yourself and others. Your words are powerful and have the ability to encourage others and yourself and bring hope and light to moments that feel dark. Have you ever noticed the impact that a thought can have on your body? If you have a negative situation that plays in your mind, have you ever noticed that your muscles may tighten, may breathe more quickly? You also may physically feel upset, even though that experience is not actually happening on the outside of you. You may just be by yourself and you're thinking about this thought, and it makes you tense. Thoughts are really powerful. They have a lot of energy behind them. But in the same way that it responds to a negative thought, positive thoughts can have a favorable effect too. So think about a time that really fills you with joy, something that makes you feel so happy, or maybe a time when you're completely relaxed. I like to think about like when we used to go to Florida and you'd be on a raft in the Gulf of Mexico and just your weight was fully supported by the raft and you just allow the waves to gently lift you up. You just are supported, the sun shining. So that really makes your body feel really nice and relaxed too. Okay, and the last one on this page, feel what you are feeling and identify ways that you're supported. So if you're feeling sad, it's okay to feel sad. If you're feeling angry, it's okay to feel angry. If you're feeling anxious or overwhelmed, any of those things, it's okay. But at the same time, know that you're also supported. So look and identify for ways that you're supported at the same time you're feeling those. So for example, and just to give you some ideas in case sometimes when you're in that moment, it's like, I don't know that I am supported, but did the sun come up? Have you ever thought that the sun just came up for you in your day today? The sun is lighting your day. Your day, it's here for you. Also, the fresh air you have around you. Your heart is beating without you asking it to. Your eyes are blinking, and even the way you see. So there are a lot of different ways to look for ways that you're supported. Okay, watch your thoughts, they become words. Watch your words, they become actions. Watch your actions, they become habits. And watch your habits, they become character. Watch your character, it becomes your destiny. And it all goes back to those thoughts. Those thoughts are really powerful. So really focusing on things that feel good. Spiritual. This is our faith, our belief in a higher being, and also our presence, the way we show up. And values. It's an interesting time to think about values, and I know sometimes as adults we don't always get out and think about like a list of values and what are our values, and some people do and some people don't, but this could be a helpful time to do that. And then also, how are you living out your values right now during this time period? It could be a good discussion to have with your family or your friends, or even as your company. What are your core values, and are you living them out? And other ways to nourish your spiritual dimension is to have a morning devotion or an afternoon devotion or even prayer. Environment. I want you to take a look around. What do you see that inspires you? What brings you joy and what makes you smile? What brings you peace and what comforts you? Hopefully your home is a sanctuary that refreshes, energizes, and also relaxes you. Find objects that do inspire you. Sunshine. Are you able to open the curtains or let some sunshine into your day? I know even on a rainy day, it's still just letting that natural light shine in though, or even going outside for a few minutes and allowing that sunshine to just warm your body. And also, what scents and sounds are in your house? Make your bed. This one actually came from a University of Texas Austin commencement speech a Navy SEAL gave in 2014. And it was about making your bed and how this accomplishment really contributes to your day and your life. And there's a YouTube video, you can watch it, and also a book about it. Plant something. You know, the second week this happened, I received an indoor planter actually a few years ago and hadn't done it yet. And I put those seeds in the soil, and it has been really fun to watch. So if you haven't done it yet, I would encourage you, plant something, even if it's indoors. It is fun to watch it grow, and that these little seeds can then come up above the soil and make these beautiful blooms. It is fun to watch. So spend time outside in your yard or garden, and also bring order in your own way. I put these two pictures on here on purpose. At the top, that room is really, really full, but there are a few ways to look at it. And at the end of the day, if you have a dog that takes all those toys out, or kids, you could be like, oh my gosh, this is such a mess, or wow. But at the same time, you could be like, wow, my kids had so much fun today. They played with all their toys. They were fully engaged. But then at the end of the day, maybe you can all get together and clean up so that you have order for the morning and start your day fresh. Okay, occupational. Again, it's been a really interesting time with all of our jobs. And when you think back to the beginning of the year when you had your personal and professional goals, you probably made a lot of progress on them, and even others right now without even realizing it, or with the intention, just because of all the way we've evolved and the way those natural gifts and talents arise. So for communication skills, how have you been working remotely? Have you been participating in virtual meetings? And how have your communication skills evolved to support different interactions? And your emotional intelligence, your writing skills, your teamwork and collaboration, leadership, the way you're showing up for yourself and your team, learning, how you've been learning right now, all the different things that we've all been learning, and also strategy, how we're evolving our strategy now and in the next few phases. And financial. We can evaluate how we've been spending our money and making a budget, and also having goals with your family and teaching kids about that, and also to donations to local nonprofits if possible. So now we're going to switch gears a little bit and get into another section. And I want you to think about, when was the last time you truly relaxed? Maybe it was on this call, since I actually did have a few different opportunities for you to relax, but outside of that, when was the last time you felt truly relaxed? Do you remember? It's okay if you don't. Do you give yourself permission to relax? And even if you're a doer, take a moment and think about how your mind or body could benefit from stillness. Sometimes in all of the doing, you might not have realized how in all of the going, you may have drifted from your core values. Think about how your activities align with your values and larger life's purpose. And rest and stillness are not the opposite of aspiration and achievement at all. Actually, they help with greater attentiveness, focus, creativity, a stronger memory, and also just a sense of common peace. So it really empowers you because you're coming from a place of peace and inner contentment, rather than that sense of urgency and need to do, that frenetic energy. I also want you to think about, if you're always going, I want you to picture a cat who's running to a dog. And not these fun, in Southwest Ohio it's so fun when we have a lot of families that have dogs and cats and they sleep together, but I'm talking about one who's completely surprised that they've seen a dog. You see that cat's, the ears go up, the hair spikes, their eyes get bigger, their nails may come out. Well, different physiological responses are happening on the inside of us too. Our insides can be at an aroused level for an indefinite period of time, even with us getting used to it. So what do you think happens over time if we stay at this level? We could feel super tired emotionally, mentally, and physically, and it also could impact your immune system. So let's really take time for rest and stillness. And what do you do to relax on a daily basis? I want you to think about that. Take a moment and think about it. And take yourself to that moment. Fully engage your senses when you're thinking about what you do. And maybe it's cooking, cleaning. Sometimes cleaning does relax people. Petting your dog, listening to music. So how do you feel now that you've recaptured that image? And this has actually another relaxation tool. It's actually called visualization, but even just thinking about it, you breathe more slowly and deeply. It decreases that mind chatter. It really helps you. It helps you relax. So just thinking about it, even if you're not doing it, but hopefully you do take time to relax on a daily basis. Now we're going to get into a few more tools. And I want you to think about a few questions. How much do these cost? How long do they take? Do you have to be somewhere special to use them? Does anyone even need to know you're using them? And also, I'd encourage you to be open. There's a lot of research behind each one of these. So mindfulness, that was what we did at the beginning, right? Hopefully you're still here in this moment. It brings you into this moment. And I did that math problem because it disrupts your thought pattern. Sometimes your mind might just be going and going and going. But when you do something like that, have a math problem or tell yourself a joke, like it breaks that pattern and brings you into this moment. It disrupts that thought pattern. Humor, again, what makes you laugh? All right, and breathe. This one just always amazes me. I'm like, there's so much research behind this, and it works, but it just sounds so simple. I'm like, just breathe, and it really does work. So it might not remove the stress, but it can help. It might not remove the stress, but it can help control our reaction and also the way we respond. So in a stressful situations, breathing can become more shallow and shorter, and our muscles may also tighten. But we can use our breath to relax the tension, and also it gives us a few seconds before we react or respond, so our words and tone may come from a more centered place. So we're going to take a moment, and I'd like everybody to take a breath. Okay, take one more. Did you breathe from your chest or your stomach? You should actually be trying to breathe from your stomach. It allows your lungs to fully inflate and breathe more efficiently. And you should try to breathe in through your nose because the nostrils filter, warm, and humidify the air. So we're going to do a quick breathing exercise. And I want you to inhale through your nose, guide the air down into your belly, not your chest, and then exhale by contracting your stomach and breathing out through your mouth. So I'm going to stop talking a minute, but I'm going to walk you through that one more time. Inhale through your nose, guide the air down into your belly, and then exhale by contracting your stomach and breathe out through your mouth. I'm just going to have you do this at your own rate. I know sometimes people are like, let's all do it together, but sometimes that causes me a lot of angst. It's a lot of pressure to keep up with everyone's breathing. So just go at your own rate. And for the next 10 to 20 seconds, I just want you to continue focusing on the breath and allow your breath to calm and bring you into the present moment and just relax you. Don't rush through the inhale or the exhale. You've got plenty of time. As the air you breathe in refreshes your body and mind, realize that the air you're exhaling is supporting the environment around you. So breathing. And there are a lot of benefits physiologically and also for your muscles and the oxygen in your blood. Decreases short, shallow breaths and brings you into the present moment. The next one, gratitude. Okay, I want you to think of 3 things that you're grateful for. And it could be a person, even if you haven't seen them for a while. It could just be your morning coffee. It could be anything. I want you to think of 3 things. Okay, now I want you to picture each one of them and offer a gesture of thanks. Maybe you say thank you. Maybe you give them a hug. Maybe you write them a quick note, or maybe you just smile. But just offer thanks in your own way to each one of those things. When you're thankful, you're probably thinking of something that makes you feel good or something that you've done to be helpful. And it impacts what you focus on every day when you start acknowledging what you are thankful for. So, and there are a number of benefits for this too. It decreases inflammation, improves mental resilience, decreases headaches, less stomach pain, better sleep, and improves relationships, and it helps you feel better. Okay, nature. we've had an amazing spring. It really has been the perfect balance of sunshine and rain to make everything pop and just to see spring in all its splendor. It's amazing that we go from these barren trees to buds and blooms, and now yards are all emerald green. We have wildflowers and then daffodils, tulips, magnolia trees, redbuds, dogwoods, and lilacs, and all of these things bloom effortlessly and abundantly. And then you have all of the colors and fragrances that accompany them, like freshly cut grass or the mossy, woodsy smell when you're hunting for morels. And all of this is right here when you open your door. And even just the feeling when you have that awe at a sunset or a sunrise, or when you're looking at the ocean or the forest or even dolphins. But nature can engross you in the moment. And you may feel it as soon as you step outside, especially if you step onto dirt or grass. Nature just has an amazing, amazing benefit to us in multiple ways. It decreases anger, fear, stress. It can help clear our heads and gives our brain a break from overstimulation. It helps have a restorative effect, recharges us, improves life satisfaction, and decreases anxiety. So as I said at the beginning with these tools, there's a lot of research to support all of these. And I'm not going to go into each one of these, but just know that each one of these has a lot of research and on different components of our body too, physiologically. But the main reason to use these tools is to help you feel better. So now that you've had the opportunity to practice them, I hope you use them. And you could use them in the morning or in the evening or midday when you're feeling anxious or overwhelmed, and even when you're feeling good. But just if they're a great thing to use, even if you don't do them every day, but it does, hopefully you'll find that they do help you feel better. So now we have a closing question. What have you started doing or stopped doing during this time that you will continue or keep discontinued after the quarantine ends? What have you started doing or stopped doing during this time that you will continue or keep discontinued after the quarantine ends? This has been a really interesting opportunity to pause in our lives. And you may feel a range of emotions, but try to anchor on and come back to feeling good. Today and every day, may you feel loved and supported. I hope you have a great day. Thanks for joining this morning.
Thanks, Brittany. I welcome any questions. If you have them in the chat box, feel free to type them in. I just wanted to kind of provide a question comment. I think your last question is very well taken. This has provided perhaps a very unique opportunity to look at our daily schedules, what is within our control and what is not within our control. And I'm just curious how folks are going to be able to take some of what has become a routine or not become part of your routine into what comes next. So I think that question is well taken.
Yeah, because some people have found like that there are some things that they do want to keep doing. So there are, and that they've had an opportunity to not do some of the things they did before. So that's a great insight, Stephanie. It does give us pause.
Yeah. We've had one question come through. I know there are a lot of employers on this call. Of what you shared, particularly in terms of mindfulness and some, daily health tips, what do you think would be the best information to take back to the office, back to staff, and to share with them about what may be helpful as part of a daily practice?
I think that's a really good question, and my answer might not be as helpful as you might want it to be, because each culture is so different. And so I think that I put a lot in here because I wanted people to see how many different things you could do, and also that they don't take a lot of time and they don't cost anything. So it's really being with your teams and just talking with them and finding out from them, and even sharing a few of these. And some people might already have some practices and asking them. But I think that the beauty of each of these things that we talked about can be implemented anywhere. And it's not, we don't need special skills to do them. They're really open to everyone to do. So I hope that wasn't too not helpful, but I think that any of them could be helpful. And then each each office is just going to be really unique, but communication is such an important one, and also just trust and helping people know that we're all here for each other, and that connection.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. We've had another question come through, and I think this is right on the money in terms of what our current environment is, but a lot of employers are grappling with new policies around working from home and new procedures around working from home. And so the question is, how do you stay connected with your team as you potentially look at working from home, or a combination of, in the months to come?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think we could open this up actually to the group if you're comfortable with that, because I think some people have natural things have developed, and our office has been a little bit different in terms of how we're working remotely, because our team's actually working in the hospitals and I'm in the office without anybody. So but we have connection points. I know that some teams, they meet on a daily basis. They have like a 9 a.m. coffee together, and that is helpful because it connects people. And it's also a time you realize how much, we all know this, but when you're in the office, we're friends, and so when you don't see them, there is that part of it too, not just the working relationship, but the friendship. So it's making time to have those connections. And I've seen some teams do it, like I said, scheduled, like at 9 a.m. Some of them do it at 4:30, but just having those Zoom calls or these GoToMeeting calls, and then also having one-on-one time with people, checking in, and then sometimes there are group chats and texts, and sharing when you do have webinars with your team, like having an opening question so people do really get to share and connect. And the other thing that I think has been really interesting and does connect people on a different level too, when you do a webinar with your team perhaps, and you do have the camera portion on, you're inviting them into your home, and it's so personal, but it's also like, I love when I see like another child walking in the room or a dog, and it like that connects your team too, and the bond that you're creating will help even as we're navigating the other phases, because it's about trust and being there and showing up, and accountability and reliability, and knowing that you're getting the work done, and it may not be getting done in the same way, but it's getting done, and trusting in that. But if you want to question up, or if I don't know how you normally moderate those, so I will defer to you.
I'd welcome anybody who wants to share any information about what's worked for them from a working remote perspective, or if you have any other questions for Britney. I know I can reiterate for our team, it is important to have, since we can really only connect via a computer, it is important to have both social connections and business connections. So we do at least reserve one of our meetings every week just to get together and talk about, what's happening, what we're cooking, what we're watching on Netflix, that kind of thing. So it's a little bit more relaxed than the typical business check-in.
But it connects. It, like you said, it's so nice. And then you're all then, you're all then engaged too. So that is a nice way to do it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I think that is all the questions that I see. So with that,
thank you everybody for those questions.
Thanks, Brittany. Really appreciate it. And just to remind everybody, we will be sending out a recording of this. Brittany, I wanted to ask, can we share these slides as well, or is this something? Okay, wonderful. So I'll go ahead and attach these slides to the email that we send all the attendees. And with that, I hope everyone has a wonderful day. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much. Yes, have a great day, everybody. Thank you.
Bye-bye.